I'm alive. Excellent. Welcome to this week's Wafflers Wednesday, and thank you for everyone who's tuning in, whether you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, or watching on the replay. We love hearing from all our viewers and listeners. And of course, we're here to waffle for the next hour. And coming up tonight, we're going to be making everyone crave a Disney resort hotel park ride or a particular food. So as we did last week with the resort hotels and people commenting the fact that we were costing them a lot of money, I think this week it's just going to be a case that we'll put the apology in at the start of the show.
Probably going to cost people even more.
Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. You've just got to lap it up because we're going to be talking Disney smells. But before we start, big welcome to Ben and Becca. How are you guys doing?
Hello.
Hi, John.
Right.
Yeah, we were very good.
This is going to make it 3 weeks in a row that we've spent costing people lots of money.
We had VIP tours.
VIP tours, deluxe
this is
hotels.
Disney. Disney costs.
Yeah, it's true. Well, at least we go down in price. I think next week we're doing a moderate resorts. So.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that one.
Yeah. Would never have guessed that, Claire.
Oh dear, Claire. But welcome anyway, Claire.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, I thought we were going to welcome in early and stuff like that. You know, it's one of them ones, and I think this is actually a really brilliant one because I think it's something we actually subconsciously touched upon last week, looking at deluxe resorts, and it's something that I think between all of us as wafflers, we've found ways and means of sort of trying to remind ourselves in the UK a little bit about it. But I'm not going to talk tonight. You see, I keep getting in trouble for waffling too much. You see, so
it will never happen.
Before we start, come on, let's have a little look who's in the chat because
we've got lots of people.
I know.
I'm busy already.
Not just me.
Oh, or me. I'm in there somewhere too, apparently.
So who have we got? So we have Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Hey,
First
Joe.
in.
Hey. No, thanks for joining us, Joe, because I know you've been in the Wafflers Arms as well this week. I really appreciate your comments in there. It's always good to get that interaction. It's really appreciated. Hi to Valerie.
Lisa.
Hi,
Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
If you look over my shoulder, Lisa, you can see Big Little Chicken sitting there on the windowsill.
Is that next to Baby Yoda?
It is.
Next to Grogu. Yeah.
Grogu.
Lego Grogu wrote that.
Lego Grogu.
We haven't got that one yet.
No, that's true. We got. Hi, Heather.
Hey, Heather.
Hi, Heather.
Hi, Neil.
Hi, Neil.
Oh, there's a Neil. Hi, Neil.
Yeah, good.
Should we say hi to John as well?
There's John.
Oh, was John in there?
There he is.
Apparently, I'm the only one that's not. Oops.
No,
Don't worry, Becca.
I'd actually commented on YouTube.
Zach Brown, nice to see you, Zach.
Well, we were getting there. Hey, brilliant. Hi, Zach. How are you doing? This is just like this. There's so many people. It's just like this is amazing.
Roll call.
Amazing. Yeah, Tom's in there as well. So hi, Tom McMillan.
You got Grumpy Old Git.
Hey, great.
Still love that screen name.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It is brilliant.
Beat you to that one, John.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, do you?
Okay. Yeah, you see Big Little Chicken? Yeah, he's there. He's in the corner.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
With us.
Is that smell of waffles or wafflers?
It definitely says waffles.
I don't think it's a chance to smell us. So.
This might by the end of the show we do our own range of wax melts or deodorants.
Yeah.
Let's not
make those.
No.
Yeah. Just before I pass over to Claire, Kay's got a really good point there. She is working, and we appreciate those people in the US. It is still your working time, and if you are joining us and you can't join in the chat, we still appreciate you listening along with the show. It's brilliant, and it's great to know that that's what's happening. You know, we're in a different position where we realise that the US are still working, and we're in the evening time. And whereas we try to interact with some of the US shows, and it's early in the following morning, while it's your evening time, and it's trying to get that balance right. So, thank you ever so much, everyone in the US, for joining us. Appreciate you being there. Claire, go on, take us away.
Oh, okay. So the sense of smell is so linked with memory that it means that it's like one of the strongest mechanisms of taking you back to a park or time or a place, isn't it? So that's one of the reasons I think that the candles, wax melts, room fragrances, all of those things that are like Disney smells have become so popular. And there are lots of them around, both in the US and in the UK. And we've got some friends of the show who have a business around that. And whether it be for me, and I was lucky enough last week to have a conversation about this on the After Hours show, whether it be like the smell of Main Street, which for me is like popcorn, cinnamon, coffee as you walk up Main Street and it changes as you go, or whether it's like the smell of the wet foliage in Animal Kingdom, or even like the individual attraction smells. So whether that be Spaceship Earth and the smell of burning, or the smell of orange groves over California when you're on Soaring, it's like a lightning bolt to your memory, isn't it? It's like it strikes you through the heart. So I know last week we talked about the resorts each having their own character smell, and I think that there's so many different smells we can talk about tonight. So I know, John, you've got a plan. We're going to go along. We're going to start with resorts.
I think we need a little nod to resorts to begin with.
We covered some of them last week, so we'll
did.
do those, and then we'll be able to move forward from there. But the most important thing is knowing in the chat what your favourite smells are. We know that Disney Dan's is waffles, but what else do people like smelling? And also, that sounds a bit weird. Sorry.
Make sure you've got a snack, because some of these foods are going to make you hungry.
Don't do what I did.
And,
I bought the wax melts of caramel kucha. Don't do that ever. Don't do that, because that's just a nightmare. Every time I burn, and I've only done it like twice, because every time I'm like, okay, now I need a pretzel rod. Or I need some of that popcorn. It's so good.
Caramel popcorn.
Yeah.
Can I just say to Heather as well, and we often forget this because she's across in California, and so she's only at lunchtime. So in some ways that's even better to know, because actually we can be her lunchtime hour. So
we can be her lunch break. Oh, it's like
exactly. That's what I was thinking. But Heather,
someone thought of that as a concept.
I think so.
Quick, let's steal it.
I've got to say, let's start with resorts, because I think we touched upon it last week, and I think more than anything, I think this is the one. This is certainly the one that's cost me a whole lot in candles.
Yes,
just because, and it's just because that when you get to you come home from holiday and you're missing that sense of Disney, and that sense of being in the Disney hotel. And I've got to say, I'm a massive advocate for the Yacht and Beach Club, and it's one of them things that on your darkest of days and the most horrible days, when you get November, December, when there's barely any hours of daylight, and you just come home, you just put the candle on, and you just suddenly lose yourself. Put a bit of holiday video on or something like that, and you just lose yourself, and you just can take yourself totally away. And I think that's the whole thing. I really do feel that as a Disney smell, your favourite hotel, and I know you guys have got different favourites too, but it's special.
Beach is definitely one of mine.
Beach and contemporary, I find genuine ones we go for. They're quite similar.
We've got contemporary in our car at the moment.
Yeah,
we found an air freshener.
Yeah, for the car.
See, look, there you go. That's the first bit of money I'm spending this week. That's it.
I'm laughing at Zach's comment, which is that said nobody ever. That musty, woody smell is fantastic. You know what? What does it do to us? Things that you wouldn't think smell nice at all. Suddenly. Are those things that make you remember where you need to be. And so like that musty woody smell. If someone said that to me in the street, what do you think of that musty woody smell? I'd be like,
do you know
what? Clearly goes, it smells like Wilderness Lodge.
Do you know what? I think something we've missed actually. Before we've got to Disney, obviously it's coming from the UK, we landed at the airport.
I was going to start with
what about the smell once you got off the plane?
What I don't know about that smell is that smell just the smell of American air in general, or
no, it's Orlando. It's
Do they think
just Orlando? It's a
Florida thing.
So I need to know from people in the chat, if they're flying in from another area in the US, does it smell different when they get off at MCO? Because it always, it smells weird to us, but it's like the most amazing smell weird. But is it the same for everybody?
Home as soon as you get off the plane.
We flew into Charlotte the other year, and I don't remember it having that same smell when we got off.
Well, no, I've been to various different places. JFK definitely doesn't smell like that, but it's
Boston Airport isn't either, but it's a lot further north.
It's weird, isn't it? Anyway, let's go back to resorts because we got sidetracked, and I just wanted to say
that was Neil's fault. That I want that.
Yeah, Neil. Keeping an eye on you. You're doing a John on us. I just want to say hello to Mark because Mark's in the chat and he said he can't stay long, but he wanted to say hello. So hi to Mark. Lovely for you to join us. Thank you so much for being here, even if it's just for a minute. We really appreciate that. So other resorts that have an amazing smell. Obviously, the Grand Floridian smells incredible. And you were saying last week about how that changes at Christmas because it's got the gingerbread.
Yeah, the gingerbread. It just elevates it. So you walk around the resort and you have that normal Grand Floridian smell, but then you just walk into the lobby and it's like you've got gingerbread.
There's the Grand Floridian smell with a hint of gingerbread.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I do need to see that and smell that one day. It's weird because in Disneyland Paris, obviously the Disneyland Hotel also has a very, very specific smell. Which is not unlike the Grand Floridian smell. It's slightly different, but not hugely different. And they're quite similar in terms of Victoriana and the hotel setup. And you can buy the spray in the shop in the Disneyland Hotel in Disneyland Paris. So one very, very small, like teeny tiny vial of spray is €69. So that's what's the conversion? That's like $80. $85 for a tiny bottle of spray. So we've never bought it.
I'll buy a Grand Floridian reed diffuser or something instead.
Yeah. But that Grand Flow smell is it's slightly floral. It's just amazing, and it takes you straight back to that lobby and that beautiful cavernous interior. And apparently the basin store and Carlos in the bath, according to Zach. So each to their own. I will always now think of that, Zach. Thank you very much. Oh dear, that's a view. Other resorts. What about the moderates and the value resorts? I know Pop has a particular smell, doesn't it? Because that's I've heard that it's got quite a fruity smell.
I've never
been there.
So I won't make the comment that I was going to make, which is about cheerleaders and things like that. So I'll keep that one to myself.
That's a different smell, John. What about the moderates? I haven't been to.
Gaston has quite a unique smell, but I'd say it just smells very deluxe.
Gaston does. Well, I'm trying to think of the smell of
the rest of the resort because you've got the water.
There's that water,
that lake in the middle,
water lake smell, and you can smell the.
What can you smell?
I was thinking of the quick service food actually. That because it's quite an open.
Can you smell the gin in the Dahlia Lounge?
We've not gone up high enough.
No. We never went up to Dahlia Lounge when we were up there. We should have done, but
presumably there's the coffee. There's the Barcelona Lounge in the basement, in the bottom, isn't there, in the ground floor? So the smell of coffee and stuff in there probably.
Art of Animation has a distinct, unique smell, which is lovely as well. And Mark's in the chat there talking about Pop. Thank you, Mark, for rescuing me there. It is hard to describe. I'll go with that. Thank you very much. And do you know something? This is something that I think we could stall the whole show on, just talking about the different resorts and also just the fact that they are all unique. They all have something completely different to offer, and they all actually have their own memories for each of us. And I think that's the bit where I think Wendy's talking about the Swan and Dolphin. I actually think that for each of us, every smell is unique, and every hotel memory is unique as well. And I think, it's one of those ones that, you're not going to be able to argue one or the other. I've never stayed at the Grand Floridian, but I tell you what, I love the smell of the candles, and I love this. I just love the fact that it just
smells expensive, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It's a deluxe resort.
It smells
like it has a candle.
Yeah.
Can't afford it, so I'll go for the candle instead.
Right.
Let's move on quickly because I
want to mention the Polly, because that's always had one that's got quite a nice smell that not many people sort of. It's one of those ones.
It's very tropical.
Yep.
It's slightly floral, isn't it? It's almost like hibiscus and orchids, and I think that the smell changed in the Polly when they got rid of the waterfall in the centre of the lobby, because that sound and that smell, you used to walk in and there was the beautiful waterfall. But it's changed quite a lot, and I think you smell a bit stronger than you could because of the chlorine in the water that was there previously. So, I think also, the Polly has
it's quite nice walking by Pineapple and just smelling Dole Whip.
Yeah.
Polly is like what I would imagine Hawaii to smell like.
I'll go on a trip there just as a research.
I'll go and find out for you.
Feel free.
John, you want to go to the parks?
Let's go to the parks, because I think as well, and I think you touched on it in the intro there, Claire, and I want to, we could all choose a different park each or whatever, but I'm going to start with Animal Kingdom, because actually Animal Kingdom, more than anywhere, is one where because of the greenery, during the daytime, it has a different smell than nighttime. Yeah. And it's the most amazing place to actually get caught up in a thunderstorm, because as it's raining, and if it's raining really hard in Animal Kingdom, you're going to get wet. But the smell of the place just becomes just so immersive, because it's actually it's that real earthy smell, and it's beautiful. I did put a photo in, Ben, which had people in yellow. There's people with a yellow poncho.
See, I couldn't find it.
That's fine. Leave it then. There was a picture of a dog wearing a poncho as well, which I didn't put in, but it actually had its own set of wellies as well. Which
that's quite cute.
It's quite cute, but I've got to say that's taking sort of the poncho argument to the nth degree. But that digress. That's talking about rain in Animal Kingdom. But what a beautiful place to be when it rains. And
I think you're right. I think it changes through the day, doesn't it? Because I love going to Animal Kingdom first thing in the morning, like 8 o'clock in the park, and that dewy smell on the wet leaves of the planting as you walk through that front entrance. You don't, for a park with animals, and there was a huge safari at the back, you don't get a lot of animal smell. There's not a lot of unpleasantness. Because you can, any sort of animal environment, you can get some. It's obviously Disneyfied, so you don't get that. But I think that the smell of the foliage and the smell of the planting, and particularly in the morning, and if it rains, you get, as it dries out, you get that different smell coming around. And I think also somewhere like sitting in Nomad Lounge, that view and the planting, and it doesn't smell like you're sitting in the middle of a park. I don't. Concrete doesn't smell, but you know what I mean. It smells like you're in a garden.
Flame Tree Barbecue, the seating area around there is another nice place.
Yeah, because you're right by the water.
Lovely smells down by the water.
I have never been in Flame Tree, and I've never been at that water's edge. So it's on the list.
Great view as well of Everest.
It is. It's just beautiful, and I've got to say that it's a strange place to start, because I don't think many people usually would start a park sort of review as well as talking about Animal Kingdom, but it is the one that for me stands out more than others, purely from the fact
Pandora has a smell, doesn't it?
Deliberate.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Pandora smells.
I think the big difference between Animal Kingdom and the other parks is that the smells at Animal Kingdom feel natural, or they smell natural.
Yeah, they do.
They don't feel.
That's the one, Ben.
Like they're being artificially inserted. They just feel like they belong there.
If
that makes sense.
Oh, that moment, that smell.
Come back to that
moment.
Come back to that. We're talking rides, Ben. Come on, let's stay.
It's Animal Kingdom.
Not there yet.
It's Animal Kingdom.
Let's talk it. But yeah, I think there is something around as you transit around the park and the different bits. You know, whether you're at Carly and you get a lot more of the water smell, or whether you're up in the bit that I always remember is if you go up to the conservation station when you get off the train and you've got that walk to the building, and that's quite overgrown. It's quite jungle-ish, if you know, jungle-esque maybe, and that always smells quite strongly floral and a bit damp. Again, it's coming back to that smell that people might not think of initially as an amazing smell, but when you walk through there, you just know where you are. You can place yourself in Animal Kingdom without any shadow of a doubt. So yeah, love it.
I know we said we'd talk about food later on, and we will come back to specific foods, but actually, depending on which part of Animal Kingdom you're in, the actual smell of some of the food outlets, I'm thinking sort of Yeti area in particular, actually really do just add to that overall, the thought of the particular place that you're in. And it's really clever, you know, very subtle, but very, very clever. And I've got to say, that's one of my sort of, you know, even as you come off the part of Africa, and it's now that little backyard barbecue area.
Yeah.
Where it's just
the Harambe market bit.
Yeah, and it's just sort of set aside. But again, it's just sort of keeping with the theming. But the smell within that is just absolutely spot on, and it just adds so much. Really does. And I'm just now thinking I need to go to Animal Kingdom very much.
It's the the spice mix around.
That's exactly
it.
Yeah.
It smells so good.
On that. Yeah, spot on.
Yeah.
You know.
Should we scoot
now we're
over
hungry.
to? Yeah, here we go. Should we scoot over to Hollywood Studios? So, I'm not aware of any particular smells at Hollywood Studios. It's not somewhere that I go, okay, that smells of X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
It's not somewhere that I would really go, that reminds me of something. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if anyone else has experienced anything distinctive.
Reminds me of Hollywood Studios is popcorn.
Yeah,
that's just because we get popcorn whenever we go to Hollywood Studios.
that might be it, but I don't know. I noticed that more than any other part.
Yeah,
tell you what it does. I'll tell you what smell it does remind me of. The smell of coffee, because I'm standing in the line for so long in the Trolley Car Cafe that I stand there for like an hour and a half waiting for a drink, and so I smell the coffee now. That was the smell.
No, I was going to be naughty. I was going to be naughty and put a picture of the right to stop in again this week. I thought it's kind of labouring a point I tend to make an awful lot, but the right to stop did have a completely unique smell of its own.
It did. That coffee and sweetness from the cake, and there's nothing like it.
Smell of old books as well in there.
I know.
Yeah,
and slightly musty furniture.
Yeah, it smelled lovely.
Wilderness Lodge.
Well, do you know something as well? We went through a spell of buying, was it Kingdom Keepers? Books?
We did.
Yeah. And we always made a point of just buying them from the right to stop. But when you actually took the book back to either villa or hotel room and stuff, and it's, you know, like when you've bought a new book and you just waft through, but it still had that smell of the right to stop in it. By the time you get home, if you wrapped it up nicely, by the time you get home, one last smell before it just sort of wore off. It's quite bizarre.
Sad, isn't it? Aren't we sad? Lisa thinks that Tara Terra has a specific smell. Does that smell of dust? Maybe because it's got
been cleaned in a while.
Yeah, I wonder if there's something around that.
It has, electrical
and dust smell that
musty, greasy smell.
Yeah, I've never noticed that.
Yeah. I've never done the queue.
Maybe we'll do the queue.
I need to go and have a sniff of the Tower of Terror.
So next time you're in Disney and you go around sniffing things, and then ask what are you doing?
Who is it who always smells everything? I'm trying to think who it is.
They're in the big blue house. It's you.
Going around and do that to people. You probably get kicked out for that, don't you?
That's usually the cue for Rock and Roller Coaster. You know, in
Oh.
days before, social distancing was a really useful one when it came to Rock and Roller Coaster.
I think in general, social distancing has probably helped the smell-o-vision.
Do you think that's helped the smell in the queue for Buzz Lightyear?
Oh, let's go over to Magic Kingdom then.
Yeah.
Can we start with a positive one before we start going to the other one?
Well, technically that should be under rides, so we can wait a little while longer for that.
Main Street. Main Street smell.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I think that whole bit when you actually walk into the park, there is just nothing that ever just sort of, it's that complete immersion, isn't it, of every single emotion that you have. And as you walk in, you're just visually trying to soak it all up. And yet you're then bombarded with music. So your mind's sort of taken to a completely different stratosphere. And then by the time you start getting to the shops, it's the smells that sort of permeate the air. And so you suddenly, every single sense is being absolutely put through the rinser.
It's just an assault of sensory experience, isn't it? Because you can't, the popcorn as you walk under you've gone under the train station, you get that popcorn smell regardless of what time of day it is, and that's amazing. But for me, it's just you walk past the confectionery,
the Main Street Bakery.
In the Main Street Bakery,
that sort of gap between the two.
Oh yeah, and then you've got Centre Street on the side, and it's just like
colour as well.
Then you get the plaza ice cream, and then it's like,
and then you get
Casey's.
And then it's Casey's.
Then it's Claire's favourite, Casey's.
I can't. I know some people love Casey's and they love the food at Casey's. The smell of Casey's is the thing that puts me off more than anything else in this world. That greasy mustard. Cheap hot dog. I can't. And the bit that makes always smells is when
Claire, it's a Disney hot dog. It's not cheap.
Oh no, okay. Poor quality hot dog. Let's put it like that. The bit that makes me smell, and it almost makes me gag, is the bit round the back. You know where the bleachers used to be, where you could sit and watch the fake baseball bleachers, where you're going into the Emporium. That bit there, that corner, always smells really strong, and I'm just like that. Oh no, can't deal with it. I cannot cope with that smell.
You're lucky there's not I haven't seen a candle for Casey's.
No, no. Yeah. No, but I think there's something about it. Doesn't matter whether I've just had like the most enormous breakfast or not. As soon as I walk up Main Street and smell those things, my stomach's rumbling. I'm just like, oh, cinnamon bun, coffee. Yeah,
yes,
I can't.
Please.
Oh, it's amazing.
Well, we did warn everyone before we started this because I'm getting hungry already.
Yeah, I'm hungry already. You just had dinner. I haven't even eaten.
I know.
Let's hang a right.
Yeah, just before we do, the next step on from Casey's has changed so significantly in probably sort of the time I've been at Disney, from going from when there was actually big, massive trees in the middle of the hub to the time when they got rid of the trees.
And the water.
Swan
boats and stuff, wasn't there?
There was significant planting even in the hub at one point. And now we're basically just left with sort of fake grass and then very little planting and then just sort of that small bedded planted area where the partner statue is. And it's a little bit of a shame really, because actually that's one area, and I know why they've done it. I know that they've expanded capacity within the area deliberately, but it actually did have an aroma all of its very own, and whether that came from the trees, whether it came from the planting, I don't know, but it's missed, and I've got to say we're never going to get that back, because unfortunately fake grass doesn't have the same kind of smell. So, Claire, are we hanging a right?
We're going to go right to Tomorrowland because there's some. Oh, I love the smells in Tomorrowland. I actually do. It's weird. So we're not talking about rides, are we? We're not talking about rides yet.
No.
I need to talk about some. Okay.
I was going to say, if we can talk about rides, I know we could talk about a prehistoric one that's not there anymore, which the smell was always quite bad, and that was Stitch.
Oh
yeah.
Did it smell bad?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
We did it once.
Yeah, it was
yeah.
not a good smell.
I don't remember the smell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tomorrowland to me doesn't really smell.
Well, there's a bit of
anything
water.
nice.
No, I think it just you get the fumes from
Tomorrowland
Speedway.
kind of overpowers everything in that area.
Do you know what? I love that smell.
So do
I
I.
actually love that smell, and I know I shouldn't, and it's really bad for the environment, but I love it. It's like it's in my brain. It's the equivalent of like toast or coffee or
it just
something like that.
Blends
it's
in. It
just the most incredible smell. It's like when you're filling your car up with fuel and you drop some on your hand. You're like that. Yeah, that smells good.
Oh,
and it's weird.
You don't like that.
I hate the smell of petrol.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the worst area in the park for me.
I think the
Give me
Speedway,
freshly cut grass and waterfalls and fountains any day.
Yeah, but how about mixing there too? Because I think I've got a video. I've got a video here. Let's give this a go. So yeah, this was. I'm trying to remember when this was.
This was, I want to say 2017.
Yeah, it must be.
May. The only day of rain we had that trip.
That
as well, I will point out.
It was definitely May.
I think so, yeah. I'm fairly certain
because
I
reckon 2017, 2018, we had a very, very similar thunderstorm. I'm sure lots of people have. And I was hoping it wasn't going to be another one of those moments. You know, I've already had the same one. Maybe the same rainstorm.
The full video later. Is it the beginning of May or the end of May?
No, it's definitely not us then. We were there.
No.
But with that smell of Florida rain, now that is a smell that is quite special, isn't it? You get the wind and you get like this overcast and you get the wind blowing through, and then comes the rain, and that Florida rainstorm smell is pretty special.
Lingers for an hour or so after when it's sort of the rain has stopped.
It doesn't smell anything like a British rainstorm.
No.
It smells completely different, which is weird.
I think one of the nice bits.
It smells fresh.
Yeah, I think in August you get a smell beforehand.
Yeah,
it's like it just builds and builds to like a pressure cooker.
Yeah,
and you kind of sense what's going to happen within the next 20 minutes, and if you open your eyes, you can see when it's going to happen as well. So but you can sense it. It's just incredible. Really is.
Do you know what, John? That's the moment where we usually make a dash for Tutto Gusto.
Yeah, yeah. I think that. Yeah.
That's your rainy day cavalcade.
Feel it coming. Yes.
Cavalcade.
See that? That's great. So let's go round to New Fantasyland. So like the butterscotchy, sugary smell round by Big Top Souvenirs and Dumbo. That's quite a good smell, isn't it? There's certainly
it is.
a British rainstorm. It's very grey, Zach. It doesn't smell anything like as exciting.
Rated Zach, unfortunately. Yeah.
Come over here at some point and you'll smell one because it always rains.
Overrated and overexperienced.
Yeah, that's right, Valerie. It's this steamy concrete smell.
Yeah.
So, see, back to my concrete love.
There we go.
Even good smells.
It does. Who would believe it? So if you walk around from New Fantasyland, you could either go round past, I'm just trying to think, Friar's Nook and that Storybook Treats, and you get the sugary smell from the ice cream sundaes. Or if you go the other way, you get the watery smell. Yeah, you get the watery smell from the Little Mermaid queue.
Little Mermaid. And that's a nice smell.
Yeah.
But then you've got
nice.
Gaston, the smell from Gaston's.
Gaston's is just cinnamon buns. And I'm going to say,
are you talking about Gaston's buns?
I wouldn't be talking about things like that. It's cinnamon buns.
The smell of Gaston.
No.
It smells of man.
Not even going on that one. No.
Smells of pure testosterone.
Oh, no, it's not doing it.
Sorry. I'm having a moment.
So someone who lowers the tone isn't right, Claire.
It's not usually me. So yeah,
Peter's not here.
Thanks, Valerie. Yeah.
Keep moving.
Yeah.
Then what else have we got around there? We've got
It's also the popcorn at the circus part as well, where the tent is, and that's really clever because you've got the toffee apples, the popcorn, and it is just deliberately there just as a part of that Imagineering and that part of the whole way that it was designed. It's again just really sort of
candy
really
floss
clever.
and beautiful.
Yeah, you go into that the big top tent, and then you've got the candy floss thing that's right in the middle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Toffee apples, candy floss, and it's just
Thank you, Colleen. So that Wendy just mentioned as we were walking down. So we've got the Tangled toilets. They will keep moving. But the Haunted Mansion has a unique smell.
Yeah.
Would you say it's a little bit probably like Tower of Terror? Do you think it's just sort of that
dusty, musty,
and that sort of?
Kind of deliberately smells old.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to live this down, am I?
Nope.
I was going to say, is this like part of the Beauty and the Beast sing along?
It's no one smells like them. Yeah.
Oh
dear. So yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what it smells like. I'm just thinking it must be like Tower of Terror. Just thought that.
Like it smells like an old building.
Yes,
Cobweb.
it does.
Yeah.
Dusty cobwebs.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does because there is it is that smell, and it is the smell of same as Tower of Terror before you get into the boiler room, and it's that smell just as you walk in. Yeah,
smells of ghosts.
Building.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just
know what ghosts smell like.
Yeah.
And then Liberty Square.
Yeah.
Smells of waffle, funnel cake.
Yes.
Yeah, it does smell of funnel cake actually.
Nutella waffle.
Yeah.
And then you got the steamboat as well. So that.
Oh, there's something else in Liberty Square. The Christmas shop.
Yes.
The smell of Christmas in August or whatever time you can be there.
365 days of the year.
You know what? That'd be one place I'd love to work if I was working in Disney in the Christmas shop.
Beautiful.
Do you think you'd get fed up with it?
Yeah, probably. Every time you get to December, it's gone. No, can't do Christmas.
I think you'd just get fed up with the carols and and all the Christmas songs on the audio loop all day, every day. I think that would be it.
You'd forget when it actually becomes December that Christmas is around the corner.
Lose track of time.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think when you walk around there when you're heading. So Tom Sawyer Island, it's not somewhere I've been to very often.
Yeah.
Again, thank you, Carleen.
Hi, Carleen.
Oh, thanks for joining us.
I don't know very much about Tom Sawyer Island. It's not. I think I went there probably once in like 1992. I haven't been since, and we've been a lot since. But it's not somewhere that I choose to go to.
No.
I don't know. With John, is it somewhere that you guys go?
Yeah, we've been quite a few times, and again, it's more the planting, and it's more it's that after it's rained sort of experience, and particularly with the water, and particularly with there's quite a lot of sort of earth. You know, as you're sort of scrambling around the place as well, it's a different smell, and you kind of cut off from that whole sort of frontier land. You know, as you're walking along past the Country Bird Jamboree, and there's like turkey legs, hot dogs, popcorn, all just all in those little stalls on the right hand side. Come past the Country Birds, and when you get there, you kind of shut off from all of that, and it's again a different smell. And similarly, if you're on the railroad. And it's that smell of the park and the actual planting that surrounds the park and the water that surrounds the park that you begin to get a lot more of that rather than the individual areas and the individual smells. And Magic Kingdom is quite strange for this because I don't think unlike with Animal Kingdom, they haven't really. It's more of a concrete sort of experience, and you're picking up on you're picking up on the extra sensory bit. Through what you can see and hear as well. I think it's worth mentioning about Pirates though, because I think Pirates is the one that I think most of us have enjoyed, and And just for
The
the fact
bromine.
that, it just has a complete changing smell as you're going through it.
It's weird, isn't it?
It's
It
that
just hits
mixture
you.
of. It's a weird mixture of water and fire.
Yeah.
It's just an odd smell. We know it comes from bromine. The bromine treating the water, but it's. Yeah. I can't even describe it, and everyone says like musty water. It is musty, but it's not musty. It still smells clean. It doesn't smell like a swimming pool, but it does smell clean. And there is no. I mean, other water rides do smell like that too, but you don't experience it in the same way, and it's weird.
It's not as noticeable.
No, it's almost
like if you're on Small World, you're not going to notice that versus Pirates.
Yeah, and I don't understand that.
I think it's supposed to smell like the sea, weirdly. In my head, that's what I think they were aiming for.
It's the burning bit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the burning bit when you just sort of think of it, and that maybe it really hits the theming of the pirates.
Yeah, the old cannonball.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what pirates smell like.
They needed to add more rum.
Maybe it's not the water at all. Maybe it's just
the pirates.
Don't know.
Yeah.
And
then not a bad smell though.
Maybe one of the actors have been down there too long.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Then you get the sweetness from the Dole Whip and the citrus swirl as you walk back through Adventureland.
Yeah.
Citrus swirl.
Yeah. I'm getting hungry.
Again.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say that talk of pirates leads us. Actually, I think coincides an awful lot. If we head across to Epcot, and I know Joe had mentioned in Wafflers Arms as well about Spaceship Earth and particularly sort of the Rome burning. And I've got to say that there's some similarity within that, and admittedly, even though it's not a boat ride. The journey through Spaceship Earth is very, very clever in how it uses, your sense of smell, particularly when it's so dark and it's such an enclosed space.
Mm-hmm.
So how it's how do you encapsulate it within that small part of the ride, and then moving on because once you get
disappears as soon as it's there, it's then gone.
Yeah. And you get to the bit where it's sort of the invention of the printing press, and it becomes a very industrial, again, an industrial oily smell, and you just like it's that immersion and deliberate immersion, and I don't know,
and it's happening around you. It's not happening, but it's not happening in the ride vehicle. It's happening around you, which is bizarre because you would expect there to be some bleeding into the other scenes, and there isn't. And whether it's actually you're distracted by this smell's going to hit you, and then we're going to do something else, and then you're going to. I don't know whether the Imagineers must have been incredibly clever when they constructed the scenes of that particular attraction so your attention is diverted away from the fact that you can still smell Alexandria burning. I don't know, but it's such a strongly evocative smell of that particular ride experience and that moment in a ride. And I think that's what I was trying to get to at the beginning. There are certain smells that they don't just give you, oh yeah, I'm in Disney. They take you to pinpoint that point on that attraction at that point, and there is nothing like it. And actually I bought a room fragrance of that particular smell of Spaceship Earth. And actually, I wish I hadn't because it's really strong, and you can't spray it anywhere because it's so strong, and it's just like the whole house smells of burning. That's not really the
what you want, no.
So,
did you have people coming into your house wondering if you'd left the cooker on or something? And
I actually gave it to my brother as a gift. I gave it to my brother as a gift, so you have that. So, but yeah, I think there is something about, the other smell for me, which is in a similar vein, is the orange grove smell in Soaring. That again, that I only, and I don't really like Soaring. I don't like heights, so it's not a ride that I do very often. But it's the only time I smell that smell is on Soaring. But I love it, and I do have that smell around my house, so we have it all over because it's so fresh and so indicative of that particular attraction moment. So,
and very similar to the Old Horizons smell as well.
Mhm.
I think again, there's a couple of people mentioning the Wafflers Arms about this, and I'm just trying to check. I know
that
Joe was
orange
one of
grove. That
Yeah.
orange grove. I think it might have been Wendy as well.
I think it was Wendy, and I think it's that whole thing where you associate a time and a place, and just it's just you lose yourself. You don't do that.
Crazy, isn't it?
The whole of the Soaring, the original Soaring ride, the Soaring over California, has a beautiful, beautiful smell kind of soundtrack to it. The new
smell
one,
track.
yeah, the new one. I'm a bit iffy. I've tried different scents. You know, the Fiji one and the India one sort of tend to get a bit floral for my liking. So the orange, Robin, I totally agree. The Orange Grove smell
that's the smell. That is the Soaring smell.
Amazing. Yeah.
There's nothing else.
And strangely, I've not quite found. You know where the new Soaring, where you get the elephant tossing all of the earth up into computer generated elephant. Sorry, spoiler.
You don't get an elephant smell though.
No, but you get this kind of soil smell. No one's thought of doing a candle about that yet. And it's just
of the elephant.
No, the soil. There's an earth smell, and it's not particularly pleasant.
It's not pleasant.
We've got. Do you know what? We're coming up with all sorts of new ideas for candles and room spray. So we've got Gaston.
Okay, do we need to go and set up our own Etsy shop now?
I think we need to go and have a conversation with Lisa. Let's have a conference call with Lisa and see what she can make for us. So let's keep going in Epcot.
Yeah, do you know something? I think we've just crossed the boundary, and I think it's the right time to do it, because Epcot itself has a change in smell throughout the year, depending on obviously what the festival is, and I know sort of food and wine brings its own smells, because World Showcase has got lots and lots of different kitchens set up around World Showcase, but at different times of the year, and again during August is a time where I'm sort of most frequent Epcot. It's that sort of real dryness, and even the planting itself is kind of completely sort of dying off. It's not got the sort of that beauty about it that it has earlier in the year, and it's you can sense all the plantings sort of just hanging on for dear life, but the concrete is just like an industrial smell at times, and it's just, I don't know, it's a weird one. It's probably a nice time to mention sort of Fountain of Nations as well, because that had a unique smell.
Lovely smell.
Yeah,
and that hint of coffee over it from Fountain View. Back to the coffee,
right?
Not as the sweet smell you got from Club Cool.
The smell of Beverly.
Beverly now, aren't you?
Which we know is coming back.
Yeah, Beverly's.
Beverly's making a comeback. No.
What's the Inca Cola? That has a really strong smell.
Ooh.
Really strong. And the pineapple Fanta. They both
pineapple
have
Fanta, yes.
Oh wow, they're like
no, too sweet.
Yeah, they're not my favourites, but
Claire, you mentioned it earlier. Caramel Kucha. It's always been one that you just we've had the wax melt, and it's dangerous.
It is dangerous.
You walk past it, and that smell just hits you, and you're like,
beckons you in. It's like,
come in, buy some treats.
It's like, and you walk past, and it's like, you've got to go in. I don't think we've ever walked past it.
Yeah.
Without buying something.
And there's so much to choose from, and it all smells great. And you're just like, I don't like the popcorn is the last thing that we would ever choose. We tend to get Millie really likes the caramel apples, so with like the soft caramel on the outside. So I humour her and I help her with that.
The caramel squares in there are really nice.
Yeah, the ones with the sauce,
chocolate squares.
Covered in chocolate.
Okay. I think we need to do a show on the food of World Showcase. I know we did a whole tour of it. Yeah. So I will be struck down if I don't mention something that I don't believe exists, which is the smell of the Mexico Pavilion.
Do you know what? I think there is, but not. You know, we were saying earlier about pirates. You know, what about a
Yeah.
water ride?
Yeah.
I'm wondering whether it's the same thing through the Three Caballeros.
But without the burning.
Yeah.
The Three Caballeros does not smell of pirate.
No.
No, it smells of a water ride, but that's it.
Yeah, it smells like Small World or any of the others. I
Chlorine
just
sort of.
Is
Yeah.
do you think it's maybe a mixture of chlorine and tequila?
maybe so. Maybe
Really
so.
interesting one,
I
yeah.
don't get it.
Or maybe
I-
you just smell it once you've had a lot to drink. I
Well,
don't know.
Oh,
maybe
I don't know.
it's not a smell I've ever noticed.
No.
No.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. People in the comments,
It does,
please
it
tell me
does
if I'm
have
completely
a
wrong.
different smell, but it's not an overpowering. It's not a scent. It's just it is more or less just the water.
Mexican food.
Mexican
Bit
food,
of
tequila,
Bit of
normal
salsa.
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe that's the myriad of Mexico smell. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just a bit strange. So I don't know that smell. I will make the effort to give a good Bear in the Big Blue
Give it a good
Blue
sniff
House
when
style
you go in
sniff
the
when I'm there.
Yeah.
See if it's if I agree or
Yeah.
not. Tequila
Can I
smell.
just-
Well, I'm happy to
Oh.
smell tequila.
Yeah. Might not last long enough. Can I just pick up on something Wendy had said as well? Because I think the land pavilion itself is one where you walk into and it just completely changes because of the air conditioning in there. You're then left with, you come in out of the heat, you get this really lovely sort of blast of aircon, which usually has the condensation on the inside of the doors because it's that cold inside, which is a great feeling. And then as you walk in, you tend to be hit by a variety of smells, and it's an amazing place. Comes from Sunshine Seasons for the food, but once you get living with the land is another thing. And I know we've spoken about this, a real favourite of ours, but the smells within that,
just in that particular attraction.
Yeah.
It starts off smelling quite stormy, doesn't it? And then
it does.
Yeah.
It's got that rainstorm and the wet foliage, and then the dryness of the desert area. You get that's a different smell. It smells like baking earth. Do you know what? This is the sort of stuff that I'd love to be able to go to the Disney smell lab and find out how they make all this stuff. How do you identify which scents to put into an attraction like that? Because you could just do it without any. And it would, how much would it detract from the experience of the attraction? For most people, they probably wouldn't notice, but the level of immersion, that extra bit of detail in terms of putting in those scents, makes it.
Just to think of the other pavilion that's not too far away, and you can imagine, who in the right mind got sort of the whole of the Figment ride, and then halfway along the Figment ride, you put in the smell of skunk.
Oh no! Why?
But it's just like it's the one that everyone remembers.
Yeah.
To make you remember it. That's why they've done it.
Yeah.
And it probably doesn't smell like a skunk at all. It's just a gross smell as you listen to it. Yeah.
The thing is, because you're expecting a bad smell, so that's what you can. Yeah.
I think
it'll turn out to
correctly,
be something really nice in reality, won't it?
Burnt coffee grind, I think, is what they use. Is what I remember reading in some bit of trivia. Is a smell of burnt coffee grind. Valerie, this, and I know John and we've mentioned this before. This is what I remember about the Universe of Energy, not Ellen, but the original with the dinosaur. You get in the car, and when the theatre starts to move and those doors open and you go into the bit with the dinosaurs, that smell. It was almost like a musty bubble gum. And I can actually smell it now thinking about it.
That's so
I can't describe it. It doesn't.
You're going to speak to Lisa and ask for a musty bubblegum candle.
Musty bubblegum candle. I like that. I think that's got a real.
I can almost taste it. It's like there was fog, the fogginess, and it was like it was like a musty bubblegum. That's that's the smell of Universe of Energy for me.
Yeah,
that was one of my favourite smells. Musty bubblegum. Who knew? Add it to the list. What else have we got? A walking around World Showcase. Funnel cake. Again.
Yeah.
More funnel cake.
More funnel cake.
Yeah.
It
doesn't do it for me. That must.
A lot of it does depend on when sort of booths are, and what countries are doing what at that time. It's
Flower and Garden's always quite nice.
Yeah, Flower and Garden's quite nice.
There's lots of topiaries and natural scents around.
So I think as well. Even looking into the American pavilion as well, I think for a lot of us, it's that unusual smell because we don't have it at home, and it's that aircon smell. You know, an aircon when you're going from heat and you're desperately seeking that sort of real cool sort of relief from it, but it just does have a smell all of its own. It's quite bizarre. Quite bizarre.
Does it depend how long it's been under the table for?
That's not something that I've ever got that close to, but potentially.
No.
So I'm aware that we're at 5 to 9, and we haven't talked really about many specific rides. I know we talked about Spaceship Earth. We've sort of done the Epcot rides. But
I think we
let's
talk
about.
We've done lots of Epcot in the past few weeks as well.
Yeah.
So I think
we love it.
We do.
But Ben, you had a ride. An attraction you thought you'd mention.
Well, I'm wearing this T-shirt specifically. Buzz Lightyear, the queue for Buzz Lightyear, the smell.
That's a nice smell.
Yeah, it's memorable. Let's put it that way.
Memorable, but not necessarily for the right reasons.
Just want to say hi, Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Hiya.
Hey.
So yeah, the smell of that particular attraction queue, and it's weird because there's no soft furnishings. It's like silver lino flooring, but it smells so bad. And yes, it does smell like mouse gear.
Yeah, that very similar smell. I don't know what it was, but it's
almost similar to the monorail.
No,
no.
The monorail has a smell all of its own. I'm going to say I really like the smell of the monorail. I do. I actually think that for all it gets, I know you hate it.
I think that's another one to add to the list, though. It's a weird smell.
Yeah, but it's that damp aircon smell. I must admit, I don't particularly like it after a whole day in the park when sharing sort of a cabin with lots of other people who've been in the park all day. Yeah. But then that's the same as being on the resort bus, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the driver of the bus is doing everyone a favour by just turning the aircon down a little bit because they think you're going to be it's a bit chilly on board. And then you're suddenly hit by this sort of building smell as you get closer. And you're thinking, by the time you get off, you're thinking, I think everyone needs a shower. Oh. Everyone needs a shower before they even think of getting in the pool. That's it.
But
it's one of those unique Disney things, isn't it? It's just, and particularly when it's hot, and I totally understand, but oh dear, not great.
Pirates of the Caribbean
that's
a long time. A long time since I've been on ET.
Oh, ET's brilliant.
I don't like the ride vehicle.
Oh, it's fun.
I think we need a show about Universal at some point because
we should probably have one.
Yeah, Joe, totally with you.
Yes,
and I think Ben, we stopped Ben from talking about that earlier on in the show.
It's amazing.
I think we need to go in with both feet here, Ben, because you go from that smell of Pandora from the outside is absolutely amazing, and you're walking through the gardens, and then as you get closer to the loading area, it becomes quite an industrial smell. With just the way that it's built, and then the way that you go up the ramp or down the ramp, and you're then filled with this sort of industrial sort of surrounding. And then when you sit on the Banshee and you then the screen goes up, it is just amazing. The whole thing,
the smells,
and it
all
starts
changes
from
all
the
through
minute
the ride.
that screen goes up as well.
Yeah,
even
it's
the
so deliberate.
Connection passage, whatever you want to call it, is got its own unique smell.
It's so deliberate, and so again, a bit like Spaceship Earth, it pinpoints you to a particular time and place, doesn't it? I know that some of the smells, like the over Fiji smell, is similar to the Flight of Passage smell.
Yeah,
but it just, it takes you straight to that ride, that experience, that sitting on the Banshee, and the sensory assault that you experience while you're doing it. So yeah,
a bit like we were saying
incredible.
earlier about Spaceship Earth. Just it's that thing that it's so immersive, and it just adds that extra thing to it all the time. That when you're going through the attraction, whether you're going through the queue, and you've got that bit where it's like, you're just waiting to be seated, and then you get into your seat, and then it's just from then onwards, smell upon smell, and it's all so distinctively different, but it flows really well.
Yeah,
I love the bit. When you're coming towards the end. I think it's the bit possibly from the picture.
Yeah.
Where the whale sort of jumps up, and you've got the seawater being cast towards you.
You get that salty smell, don't you?
The smell at that particular point, and you're just thinking that to go from sort of the charging animals before, where you get that same earth smell that's on Soaring. It's bizarre, and it completely absorbs you. And I think that possibly comes back to when we talk about sort of favorite rides, and certainly we've talked about it in a few of our shows previously, and I do believe little heads up for the live show as well. We've got another little bit where Flight of Passage will return. So I don't want to talk too much about it in a minute, because it's trying to keep people in suspense, because it's just such an amazing that the Imagineering that's gone into it to actually transport you there, using every single sense. And I don't know, I love the ride.
I was going to say there are other attractions that we've completely missed in our conversation, and Valerie has pulled us up on this straight away.
Thank you.
PhilharMagic. Hello. That is like iconic in terms of
apple
the
pie.
smell. Apple cinnamon smell. Wow. Yeah. And again, that's another one that makes you hungry. You just need to sit there and
Disney have done it right. It's just to make you hungry all day, isn't it? That's what it is all about.
I have problems with PhilharMagic. I can't see the 3D properly on it, and it gives me a headache when I get off of it. So I have a tendency to ignore the smells because I can't quite work out what's going on. I still go and watch it because somebody likes it. So
I love PhilharMagic.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I'd like it a lot more if I could actually see it.
Oh, that's a shame.
And weirdly, in Paris, because PhilharMagic is in tomorrow in Discoveryland in Disneyland Paris as well, they do not have the smell-o-vision element of it. It doesn't have that bit because it doesn't have the same setup in terms of the little things that go in your face.
Yeah.
As you're sitting there. I don't know what they're called. The little smellitzers or whatever they
Actually, it's still light where John is.
Yeah. Do you know what? Neil,
you're spot on there, mate. That's
it is dark.
John, do you have like a spotlight outside your house?
I think John's so far north that
we're just talking.
It's pitch black.
Pretty dark outside where we are. We're just down the road from Claire.
No, we're quite right. Yeah. Whoops. There you go. Full effect.
You're
just for Neil. Just for Neil.
That's so strange.
There we go. See?
Wow.
It is. It's light in the north.
Yeah. There you go. Science experiment at its best. Look at that.
There you are. Who knew? So different.
First smell of chlorine when you jump into the Villa pool.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. So other attractions that we've forgotten.
We did touch upon the Speedway earlier, and I would say the Speedway is just the most amazing thing. And it always reminds me of being, as a young kid, when your parents used to go and get petrol as a kid, and you always wound the window down just so that whoever was on the
inhaled
side,
it.
You just like sniffing the petrol as your dad was putting petrol in the car.
Yeah. Other way around, roll the windows up.
And it was probably the worst thing was the old 4-star petrol. So you get all that smell of lead and all this.
Well, that's what they use I think that's what they use on the Speedway now, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah. But it is just
that'll change if they ever get rid of or update it to like electric cars.
Oh, I think
they're just going to artificially pump in the smell.
Yeah.
You need to have that smell sprayed around anyway. I mean, that's and it'll be interesting to see how that dissipates when Tron opens, because obviously that will absorb some of the air, you know what I mean, from around there. But there is something around that Speedway smell, that sort of it's a really
It lingers and it goes quite a lot of places because we've been in the queue for 7 dwarfs first thing in the morning, and you know when the queue's long when you can smell the speedway.
when you're
when you're right
bums in a car.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. There are times of the day, particularly in Orlando, because of the air currents and going from Gulf Coast, Atlantic Coast, without getting too meteorological about it. There are times of day when the air doesn't move as much, and first thing in the morning when it's that bright sunshine and it's just it's not too gusty. Actually, the smells do linger a little more. So I think the Speedway first thing in the morning, it's a little bit dewy on the ground, and that's such a great smell. And it really places you again in Magic Kingdom. And I'm sure that that's
People
a
Mover
memory.
has quite, because you go through so many different sections on the People Mover, from inside Space Mountain, going through Tomorrowland. You're just going to pick up certain areas, and then you probably do smell Speedway when you go past it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the People Mover in particular, when the Tomorrowland Terrace used to be a noodle station, and you were on the People Mover.
When was that? When it was open?
Years ago, yeah. You'd go from having the Speedway, you'd have the noodles, then you've got the sort of the Stitch ride. Yeah, and it's just like it's really bizarre. And that's
they need to bring that back.
That's why the People Mover is such a loved ride, and more than anything, I think we certainly have probably ridden the People Mover more than anything else in Magic Kingdom. And that's purely from the fact that before our Joe was big enough and tall enough to go on Space Mountain, it was the one that was the parental sort of holding area of like, everyone's going on Space Mountain, but I'll take you on the People Mover, and we just go round.
I'll be like, result.
Yeah,
I like that.
It was good.
It's like you'll be going on this ride one day.
Yeah. Forget Space Mountain. Just stick with the People Mover.
Yeah. But there's so many, and I think we've hit up on nearly every particular ride.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything we've missed particularly.
Thunder Mountain.
Frontierland.
Frontierland.
Yeah, it's quite. I don't know.
It smells very westerny.
And you get that. We've mentioned that natural gas smell.
We have
oil.
We didn't mention that natural gas smell on the exit to Splash Mountain.
Yeah, that bit's weird.
What I don't understand. It's
just, again, it's a very specific smell that's, I don't know why it's there. It's almost like it's an error. It should, they can't get rid of it for some bizarre reason. And it's only in that little section at the exit of Splash Mountain near the toilets. How can they not notice it? Everybody's noticed it.
The mixture of the smells coming from the toilets and the smell coming from the ride.
But it's not from the toilets, because the closer you get to the toilets, the less it smells. It's like just underneath that bridge bit, and it's really, really weird.
It used to be when the kids play area, so it's really handy to just blame it on sort of preschool children at times, wasn't it? But it's definitely nothing to do with the kids.
It was odd smell.
It's a gas smell and things. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So Thunder Mountain smell of leather and oil.
Yes.
Yeah,
great,
just beautiful,
and gunpowder, obviously.
Gunpowder.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Hollywood Studios doesn't really smell.
It doesn't.
No, that's what I was saying. I don't know.
Even Toy Story. I'm trying to think about Toy Story
Land. Does Toy Mania smell?
Bit.
I'm too focused on
maybe?
Competition on Toy Story Mania.
Yeah,
it doesn't smell like my kid's bedroom.
I know.
It smells like winning in my eyes.
I'm guessing Star Wars Land has a smell. I just can't remember what it is.
It's been such a long time since we've been.
One of the ones. I'm assuming Rise of the Resistance is going to have some unique smells.
Well, I hope so. We'll find out.
I don't know. Oh, the smell of a Ronto wrap.
That's true.
No, don't fancy that.
Do love a Ronto wrap.
The breakfast one.
Really nice.
So it's 9:10. We've gone over. There's a surprise. We've got some things to mention. We've got some stuff to mention, haven't we? So we should probably stop talking about smells. Although that's a great segue into tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern and 1:30 a.m. some blokes and then Lou and Lisa have got a first anniversary show. Whoever they might be, does anyone know them? So yeah, we've got a first anniversary show of After Hours. Let's Talk Disney. Go with us live. So,
I know one of them is called Puddles.
Puddles, that's right. Yes.
Colin will never forgive you.
Can't mention the other two names. Rob was one of them, I think. That's an accidentally derivative mention if nobody's seen that. So
I'll mention Carlos and Jason. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think tomorrow night's show is going to be pretty epic.
It is. My alarm is set.
Well, you said that last week. To be honest,
I said that last week and I slept right through.
Can I also add
the best episode ever last week?
Claire was on last week. For those people watching who missed the show, and maybe you want to go and catch up, because Claire actually did an absolute sterling job on our behalf. So a big thank you, Claire. It was lovely to see you. Lovely to see you being treated with a real respect from those guys, and it was a lovely. Heather, half one. It was just like
Claire,
matchsticks last week, weren't you, Claire?
I know. I bossed it.
I
was
really well.
I was so tired.
Fabulous show, and
so tired.
It's great to know that those guys have been on, and Lou's been on here as well. So
do you know what? It's going to be great to celebrate with him tomorrow. That's going to be a really good evening.
Can't believe it's been a year.
I know.
I can't believe it's been a year.
Too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
What else do we need to mention? I can never remember this bit.
We've got a new podcast out on Saturday.
Do we?
Oh yeah, so we have
already. So episode 40, Mickey Scousers. And for anyone who picked up on the first of the month podcast, can somebody tell us why so many people have already listened so many times already? Because the numbers for this month are absolutely superb, and I love the fact that we can pick up on that. We've got another one out. Obviously,
host.
John, did you leave it on repeat this month?
Yeah,
all my family have listened. All my family have listened. That's all it is.
All families. But no, it's brilliant.
Well, we appreciate everyone that has listened to it.
And if you haven't, you know where to find it. It's on gbmickeywaffle.com or on your podcast provider of choice.
Yeah.
And if you want to see our lovely faces like tonight, you can see us on our YouTube channel.
Listen to it. You don't want to see any more of my face.
I feel much more comfortable listening on a podcast. I think as well, guys, and as well, I'll plug the Mickey Scouser show, because there is some amazing information about DVC within that show. And I know both Ben and Becca and Sarah and Stephen, who we were sharing a waffle with, are all DVC members. But I learnt an awful lot. It was by the end of the show, I was near enough just picking the phone up to go and buy DVC myself.
I do apologise.
It's another one that's going to cost you.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but do you know something, guys? And I think this again. I'm big into shamelessly plugging our shows, but for me, as somebody who's been to Disney so many times and never bought into DVC, has always walked past the guy who's come and said, "Oh, do you want DVC? I'll take the fast passes off you, mate, but I'm not going to be buying." But I learned a whole lot about it, and it actually gave me a lot of information to reflect on, and actually to put together the finances, the financial part of it. Yeah, it is. But
I'll get down to listen to that one.
But go and have a listen, because it opened my eyes, and certainly I learned so much from it. And a big thank you to Sarah and Stephen for joining us on that.
And then next week, what have we got? We've got Moderate Resorts next Wednesday.
Moderate Resorts.
And then on Friday...
Yeah. We're live. It's the
Friday.
live show.
It's the 21st, so it's the Wafflers Assemble live.
First Friday of the month.
Come round quickly.
Peter is facing the Mastermind Challenge.
Yeah. And his topic of choice is Disney theatrical.
Oh, that's specific.
So Disney
on Broadway to everyone else.
Oh wow.
Okay, so time to do some revision, Peter. You've got 10 days notice.
Yeah.
And we've got all sorts of other segments.
There's loads.
We've got a new segment. We've got What Thrills Jill.
Yeah.
What Thrills Jill? Yeah, that's a new one.
head of Team Wimp.
Is there
I
a
think that's
poll up on the Wafflers Arms?
There will be a poll.
Yeah.
There will be a
Yeah.
poll up
Yeah.
on the Wafflers Arms.
coming
about that.
soon.
Coming soon.
So talking of
Probably
Wafflers
within the
Arms,
next hour.
So yeah, our Facebook community, you can find us on there, and we have Mug Monday, Throwback Thursday, Claire's favourite Food and Wine Friday, and Sharing Sunday.
So great to see you in there, interact with us. We'd love to have that in the community page. It's really nice and see all our friends there. So thank you.
That makes it Throwback Thursday tomorrow.
Yeah,
Have we decided what we're throwing back to?
Well, we'll wait and see.
Oh,
wait and
wait and
see.
see.
Surprise! Got to wait. Got to be patient on these things. Otherwise, we'll all be posting it on there tonight.
So
you know how good I am with the Facebook. That's it.
right.
You're in charge now, John.
Well, I was thinking as well. I was thinking, of all those sort of familiar smells that we've been talking about, we missed one really obvious one, and the Wafflers Arms is actually a really delightful one because we have no lingering smell, but one of the best and most well-themed smells that I'm going to leave everyone with thought.
I know exactly where.
It's the Rose and Crown in Epcot. It's so good because the pub itself smells like a proper British pub, but they've themed it so well. The toilets smell like proper British toilets as well, which is minging. It's horrible. But I tell you, I think that's a fantastic one to leave everyone with the thought.
You don't need to come to the UK.
Disney, think of everything. Think of everything. Goodness.
Who would
Must have
believe
done a
it?
lot of research on that one as well.
I think so.
I think it's time to go.
Yeah.
I think we've outstayed our welcome.
We won't ever be allowed back into the Rose and Crown.
That's not a problem. I tell you what, though, everyone's always welcome at the Wafflers Arms, and that's where we should leave it, because that's been a fantastic chat tonight, and the chat has been again something to really behold. All your ideas have kept us going and actually reminded us of things that we had sort of just had to pluck from the background as well. There you go. Should do a show on puddles. It smells. Oh dear.
Poor Colin. He comes in for some stick, doesn't he?
Poor Colin.
Okay.
Michael, I'll be exactly the same. My wife would kill me as well, but hey.
She doesn't need to know.
So she'd have to know because she'd have to pay for it.
Let's go before you get yourself into trouble, John.
I know. Again. Okay, guys. So next Wednesday, same time, same place. Talking about moderates without Claire, because she doesn't do a moderate.
Don't do moderate
until November, October.
Despite the fact she's staying in one in October.
I know. I'm gonna risk it.
Oh, brilliant! Hey, thanks everyone for watching. Until next time. Waffle on from me.
Waffle on.
Waffle on.